Hello dear students, welcome to the first session of our online class for the subject Business Studies for class 12, that is IEC 2021. Okay. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter 5, Staff Training. In this chapter we will understand the meaning and definition of training, difference between training, education and development, types of training, methods of training, difference between on-the-job training and off-the-job training, hindrances to training, that is obstacles, and we will also understand the benefits of training. Okay, so without wasting time, let us start. So first question is obviously what is meant by training or what is training. So training is a process by which we are able to enhance or increase the knowledge and skills required to perform specific jobs. So training is job-oriented process. Okay. The knowledge and skills acquired by employees through training help them to perform their duties, works, job responsibilities efficiently without much of mistakes. In that way, training helps the organization to get the higher productivity. Okay. Now, we call well-trained staff or employees are the assets for the organization because they make the best possible use of the available resources and achieve the organizational goals. Okay. So we will talk about the benefits of or advantages of training later on in a particular topic. Okay. Now we move on to the new topic or next topic for the day, that is difference between training, education and development. You know, in general, we use all these three terms, that is training, education or development, as one and the same thing because we acquire knowledge whether through training, education or development. But there are certain differences between them. So let us understand the differences between these three terms. Now here we have some points of differences. On the basis of nature, training is practical because, as I said, training is job oriented. So employees usually they get the skills and knowledge related to a particular job while performing the job. So that's why training is practical in nature. Okay. Education, whereas theoretical in nature because here we acquire the knowledge through studies. On the other hand, development is practical as well as theoretical in nature. What about the contents of the training program? The contents of the training program are job oriented or job related, whereas the contents of education are general in nature, and the contents of the development basically they are career oriented. Okay, so that helps the employees to grow or to get promoted in the organization. Okay. Now, on the basis of duration, training is basically a time-bound process and it is provided for a short period of time, whereas education is provided for a long period of time. On the other hand, development is a lifelong process, it is a continuous process, it goes on. Now, who all are the participants of training? The participants are usually non-managers, usually to acquire the technical skills or technical know-how related to a particular job. Okay. On the other hand, the participants of education are both managers and non-managers to acquire the general information or knowledge. Whereas in case of development, usually the participants are only the managers. Okay, so here the managers will try to acquire the knowledge and skills related to leadership skills, okay, and the problem solving skills, right? So these are the some of the points of differences between training, education and development, right? Now let's move on to the next topic, that is types of training. What are the different types of trainings which an organization can provide to its employees? Let us understand some of the training programs of an organization. So the first type of training is known as induction or orientation training. So basically, when an employees are taken for the first time, when they are new to the organization, there is always the feeling of fear, hesitation, nervousness and anxiety on the part of employees. So the fear is about what will be the job, who all will be the co-workers, boss, how they will behave. So this kind of nervousness will be there on the part of the employees. Okay, so that's why a training program is organized by the organization to introduce the new employees to the organization. They are made familiar with the work procedure, policies, okay, rules and regulations. They are introduced with the co-workers, their immediate supervisors, subordinates. Okay, they are also taken around the campus to tell them the location of the main office, their workplace, okay, the canteen, washroom, etc. So if this kind of program is organized by the management of the organization to welcome the newly appointed employees, then the initial anxiety, fear and nervousness will be eliminated, removed. So in that way, the employees will feel confident about their work and the environment. Okay, so that is we call orientation training. Next type of training is known as job training. So training regarding a particular job. You know, it is not possible for an organization to get trained and experienced staff all the time. So most of the time the organizations will have to acquire fresh talents or employees either from the education institutions directly or from the job market. So at this time the management of the organization will have to provide skills and knowledge to the newly appointed staff related to their job. So that means the type of training is known as job training. So where the trainers will provide skills and knowledge to the trainees about their particular job. So here the trainees will get the knowledge and skills about their job, how to perform the job, what are the resources being used, what are the machines, equipments, tools are being used. So they get the knowledge related to their particular job. Okay, so that is what we call job training. Next, there is another type of training, so called remedial training. This kind of training program is organized by the management of an organization to correct the mistakes or shortcomings of the employees in the present performance. So there is a possibility that the employees are using or adopting a wrong method, or they are using resources, equipments, tools slightly in a different way. That's why they are underperforming. Okay, so that's why a training program can be organized by the management to do the correction in their mistakes or shortcomings. So such training program is known as remedial training. Okay, there is another type of training program which can be organized by an organization for its employees, known as safety training. So this kind of training program is organized to bring the safety consciousness among the employees. So here the trainees or the employees, they are trained about how to make the proper use of machines, equipments and tools. Okay, so this type of safety program or training program is very handy or helpful for the employees who are working with hazardous environment or dangerous machines, equipments, tools, or even chemicals. Okay. Here the trainees also learn to make proper use of safety devices, okay, like using hand gloves, boots, and other safety equipments. All right. So one example of safety training could be the fire drill, which is organized in some of the organizations. Okay. Here the employees learn how to make use of fire extinguishers and how to combat that particular situation when there is a fire in the organization. Another safety training program could be the evacuation plan or drill organized by some of the organization. Let's say there is an evacuation plan in a coal mine where the employees are trained that at the time of earthquake how to evacuate the place of work, okay, to avoid the accidents and injuries. So that is what we call safety training. Okay. Now let's move on to another type of training known as promotional training. Under this kind of training program, potential employees are trained to perform the responsibilities and duties of slightly higher level, so that if there is any vacancy or vacancy arises, they are trained and they are made skilled enough to take the challenges and responsibilities of the high level of position in the organization, so that they are promoted. So it provides an opportunity to grow or develop in the organization. So that is what we call promotional training. There is another type of training known as refresher training. You know, the skills, the methods, the techniques which are supposed to be the best to perform a particular task at a particular point of time, that method becomes obsolete or outdated due to changes in the technologies. Okay, so that's why the employees will have to refresh their knowledge. Okay, so that's why there is a training program which could be organized by an organization for its employees known as refresher training, where the employees, they upgrade, they update their know-how, technical know-how, that means their knowledge and skills, so that they are up to date, okay, and they are able to make proper use of latest techniques, technologies, or methods. So that is what we call as refresher training. Okay. Now, dear students, to provide all these different types of training, the organization can use various methods of training, and all those methods of training can be broadly divided into two, known as on-the-job training and off-the-job training. In case of on-the-job training, the trainees or the employees, they are put on the actual place of work, on actual job, and they learn by doing their work. So this is a process of learning by doing. Okay. So here, as I said, the trainees are directly put on the actual place of work. They contribute in the productivity of the organization. They engage themselves in carrying out their actual work, and they learn by doing their actual work. Okay. Whereas in case of off-the-job training, the employees are taken away from the actual place of work, maybe in a classroom, maybe in a field, maybe in a training center, and there they are provided the knowledge and skills required to perform their specific job. So this is the training program which is away or off means here away from the actual place of work. Okay, so that there is no fear or pressure of doing the actual performance, and here the trainees can totally focus on the training program and they learn. Once they are trained enough, they are made skilled enough, then they can be put back to their actual work. So, and in that way they will be able to perform efficiently or properly. Okay, so that is what we call on the job training and off the job training. Okay, so in the next class we will discuss about the different methods of on the job training and the different methods of off the job training. Okay.